Hello, Charlie. Welcome to the call again. How are you?
I'm good, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you. Well, we are 4 weeks away from your training coming up here in upstate New York. I
Absolutely.
am super excited for it. I just can't wait to be. First of all, I love being around you, and I love the fact that you're training and everything. It's always an opportunity to learn. But I'm also super excited because your wife is joining us, so we really get to learn some of the cool stuff that really the real marshals know, right?
You sound like my kids who told me Mama does all the real stuff, Daddy does that fake work. But hey, what a blessing, Jeff. Thanks again for the invite, and thanks for the invite to come up 4 weeks from today, like you said, and kick off our training. Friday the 11th at 6 p.m. So if you're not registered, Jeff and I are going to talk to you about that. You got to get there. You got to get there. Yeah, Rachel will be joining me. She has 30 years of experience in my old agency, and she is what a blessing, a wealth of information to come up, not only from the law enforcement perspective, as I've been telling some folks, but now we have someone that's going to come up and speak with her husband. So we're going to be able to talk family dynamics and personal things that you have to think about for safety, and then coupled an added benefit for those the folks that are coming or haven't made that final decision to come train is for the ladies that are out there, for the guys that have women or in their lives that carry firearms for self-defense. Rachel's going to bring that perspective up there too as a woman. So I mean, what and then coupled with your kind compliment about me coming up, is I learned something from Jeff every time I'm up there, and everybody in the class. So we're just so lucky to have all of us together to share information to make everyone safer and more effective in safety in today's world. And what an opportunity for all of us. So Jeff.
Yeah, so we actually have 3 days of training coming up. So it's August 11th of 2023. We have, which is a Friday night, we have low light training and room clearing, which we're going to talk about that a little bit in a second.
Yes, sir.
Saturday morning, the 12th of August, we have weapon retention.
Right.
And then we have a second class of reality check, which is my class. You and Rachel will be guest instructors of it. I am super excited to have you guys part of that. And then on Sunday, the 13th, we have 2 classes, live fire. One is level 1, one is level 2. And we're already selling out of these classes. Some of them have like 1 spot left. One of the classes is already sold out. And they are filling up very fast. But I've been talking to you about this, Charlie, and I wonder why people only want to do live fire and they don't want to learn some of the skills. It's like an MMA fighter that wants, I want to be an MMA fighter. Just put me in the ring, but don't teach me anything first. And in martial arts, I've been doing it 43 years. I've heard that. I can handle my own. I don't need any training. Just put me in the ring under your name and let me go fight for you. Well, that's not how the way it works. Number one, people aren't usually as well trained as they think they are. And number two, that's just not the proper way of doing it. So, Charlie, why would somebody only be interested in live fire and not the other stuff?
Well, it's kind of a quandary. I don't know, Jeff, is because maybe they don't really know, because you and I did have this discussion before about weapon retention. What is it? And like you said earlier, is we always learn something. One of the terminologies, for example, guys, we use out there is weapon up. Well, I had a student of an agency that I won't mention say, when I said weapon up, meaning, is my weapon functional? Is it ready to go? Weapon up. Well, this student thought I meant up and was holding it up here. And I had to say to her, it was a young lady, and I said, ma'am, and she was kind of embarrassed. I said, ma'am, that's my fault. That's my fault as an instructor that you didn't know what I meant. I thought everybody in the world knew what weapon meant. And that's not true. So as you said, we all learn something hopefully every day, and especially in training this important. But so let's get right to the first one. Why didn't they come? Some goes back to, like you said, maybe they think they know what they were going to do or what they should do. And that may be true. Some of it is they're not sure what it is, so they're a little apprehensive. Yep. Obviously there's a few out there that can't come at the time we're suggesting, or that we're
sure, and I understand that.
That's understandable. But guys, we're gonna, as Jeff said, he related it the analogy of the martial arts. I'm gonna relate it to, look, you need to learn how to function the tool. Live fire is important. Laser training is important. Dry fire is important. That's how the tool functions. That's how we get good with the tool. Jeff mentioned again, martial arts. There's tools in the mixed martial arts arena. So now it's taking the tool that we learned or are learning and putting it into the environment and the stressors of the actual locations, if you will, or the actual placement of using the tool. So when you're talking about room clearing, for example, you know, especially up there, guys, I happen to be one of the few down here that have multi-level home, but lots of homes up there in central New York are multi-level. You know, you and I were talking about some scenarios. Why would you want to clear a room? Why would I want to clear my house? And again, if you can get yourself and everyone you love out of the danger and call 911, by all means, do it.
Yep.
However, let's say you're in your basement, maybe you have an office, or I'm upstairs in my home, and I hear a window break, or a mom, a single mom, or any mom or dad or anybody that's home, and now they hear a window break, they go down to check, maybe it's the dogs or the cats or whatever, but then there's a broken window and a crowbar on the ground, but your children are down the hall and you don't know whether somebody's in there or not. How do you clear down there? How do you get down there? How do you make sure there is nobody down there other than running down there and then placing yourself in danger, and then there's no one to take care of your children because something unfortunately happens to you? So that's why we're talking about this home clearing thing, not because I want you to be on a SWAT team. I want you to know how to safely clear your home in case, heaven forbid, something happens like I just described or something else. And then what to do with that tool that we've trained in that environment if the circumstances dictate the need for lethal force, or at least the threatened lethal force option. So,
You know, and we did earlier videos on this. Didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry about the
no worries.
We did earlier videos on the reason or why they should be at each one of these types of classes. And I'll put those links below in the description. So if you haven't had a chance to see them, you can go back and watch them, whether you're talking about the Friday night or Saturday morning or whatever it might be.
Right.
You know, a lot of people up here in New York go to the range, they place the firearm down in front of them, they pick it up off the table that's in front of them, they fire their shots, they put it back down, they bring the target up, they look how they did with it. That's kind of their training. We've had, I got to bet you there's got to be 100 people that have come through my doors that have had their pistol permits for years that have never drawn from the holster.
Sure.
Why? Because most ranges in New York don't let you do that because of the liability and other issues that go along with it. So here you're carrying around a firearm and you've never learned how to get that firearm, or that tool as you're calling it, out of the holster and on target. So that's a big issue. I think people need to realize you can't always train the way you need to train for a tactical or critical situation. And the ranges just don't allow it. So the nice thing about working with dry fire is you can practice everything in a safe environment, dry firing a firearm, whether it's just a totally 100% empty firearm, or you're using a laser conversion, or you're using cert guns, or whatever it might be, but something that's safe. You can train in a totally safe environment and practice your skills and get good at it. The only thing that you really don't get is the recoil of the firearm. So, Charlie, if you're practicing drawing from the holster, does it matter if you have recoil on a firearm?
No, because I'm hoping if you're drawing, you're not having any recoil, because that's a really
exactly, because that means you're discharging it.
So, yeah,
if you're practicing room clearing, do you need any recoil on your firearm?
No, we'll be doing that. You know, is there a way to take it to the next level? Absolutely, with simulators
Sure.
and things like that. But what we're talking about with room clearing, we're going to practice that. And Jeff mentioned low light. There's some advantages to having the lights off in your home. You can manipulate through. We're going to talk about that. You can maneuver your home most of the time in the dark when an intruder couldn't. So, but if you're going to use a flashlight, how to use it? How to use it in one hand? Because maybe you're only used to shooting two hands, unless you're doing some kind of single-handed drill, which is different in your home. We're going to talk about cover, concealment, barriers, and barricades. And how to move through their doors, in swinging and out swinging doors, and things you don't think about, things you don't think about with lighting and backlighting someone and things. So we're going to try to touch on all those. So that's what we're talking about, is why would I want to clear a room in my home? Because I can't get everything I love out safely.
Right.
And I have to make sure my loved ones are safe. And how can I do that safely as well as effectively? Because, as you say, we learn something every day. Someone said, The difference between reality and shooting at the range is two-way in reality. So we have a two-way range in reality. So you're shooting one way, something's coming this way. I hadn't heard it put that way. So, and that's the difference. That's the big difference. It's not that you can't function the tool. It's that the stress and the adrenaline and the environment changes the way we perform as humans. And the only way to reduce that, there's never a way to get rid of it because we're all human, is through training. Emotionally, mentally, physically, the whole thing. And that's what we're trying to do. That's what we're trying to bring to the folks.
So I'm going to put you on the spot here, Charlie. We're 4 weeks away. All right. We have some spots still open for the weapon retention on Saturday morning. And we got a couple spots left over still open for the room clearing and the low light work on Friday night.
Right.
In a short couple sentences, why should somebody be there? Why should they step up to train? That's where I'm putting you on the spot. You ready for it? Go.
Oh, man, right on the spot here on a Friday night, right? 4 weeks away. 4 weeks away. Why should they come to train? Because you want to know that you can function with the tool that you spent so much time training. Like you said, why do they come to live fire and don't come to this? Unless you're going to be an altercation with a one-way range, like we just talked about, on a linear, straight environment that's sterile. If you haven't trained outside of that with the tool that you've spent not only money but time on, then how do you know what to do? So it's coming to get exposure to be able to function that tool in the environment of which you may have to.
Which brings me to my question. Next question for you. I didn't mean to cut you off again. Is we talk about people wanting to practice and train at home. You got to practice in order to get good at something. So there's an old saying: practice makes perfect. Well, in the martial arts, if I'm practicing punching with my wrist up like this, that's not going to make me perfect. So the challenge with people practicing at home is a lot of people don't know what to practice because they never learned any of this stuff. So you're going to take the time and you're going to say, here are things that you can practice at home. They may be terrible up here in 4 weeks, but then 8 weeks from now, they may be pretty darn good at those skills if they put the time into practice. So our goal with these training sessions is not to, just like put everybody down and say, well, you guys aren't doing this and whatever. Our goal is to give you things to go home and practice and make yourself better so that if you need to use that tool, you have skills to be able to do it. As opposed to thinking that when I need to draw that holster, or draw the firearm out of the holster, I can. So we're going to give them the practicing tools that we need, that they need to go home and do that. So Charlie, I'm going to finish it off there. I wanted to keep this just a short video. 4 weeks. You and your wife are coming up here. I'm super excited. For those of you that are just watching this, in the description below, I'm going to have links to the longer calls that we did on each class. And then I'm also going to have a link to our website. If you want to go on our website and see what the training is about, on that link is also going to be any registration links too, if you want to register and come to it. It is open to anybody. If you are a seasoned firearms enthusiast, we'd love to have you. If you are brand new, we'd love to have you. Friday and Saturday, we're not even dealing with live weapons, so people don't even need to have pistol permits. Now, we know a lot of people are going to use their own firearms and we're going to clear them, make sure they're empty, but some people may not even have their own firearm and they're welcome to attend with using one of our training firearms. We're okay with that. So, Charlie, 4 weeks, I look forward to seeing you. Any last words here?
Oh, man, we'll look forward to seeing everybody, seeing some old friends and meeting some new ones and training and sharing information to make us all safer. Jeff, I really appreciate the opportunity and I will see you in 4 weeks, my friend.
All right. Thank you, sir. We'll see you then.
All right, buddy. Take care.